Next up, we have Robin. And at the 1 minute mark, I'll give you a soft, gentle 1 minute warning. So Robin is someone who's just taken AI by storm, very enthusiastic about AI. Oh. And she's a hugger. Okay.
I definitely am a hugger. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes. And I've known her for, I think, over a decade, and she's always been a force in, as a non-clinician, to really trying to have AI be leveraged for healthcare. Robin.
Thank you so much. So hi, everyone. I'm Robin Farmanfarmaian. Raise your hands. How many people are already using Agentic AI? Okay. Actually, quite a few. That's amazing. So the past 2 years have all about being AI really helping us, right? The next 2 years are going to be about AI taking action. Now, before I talk about the perils of generative AI and agentic AI, I want to take a step back into the world of artificial narrow intelligence. Now, ANI. Now, about 1,200 software programs have cleared the FDA, and they all can pretty much fit into the bucket of artificial narrow intelligence. Good example of that is digital diagnostics. From a retinal image, the software will come back with that binary answer. Yes, a patient has diabetic retinopathy, or no, they do not. Now, on the levels of autonomy, level 1 being, a high-tech calculator, level 5 being the Terminator, typically ANI will fall in at level 4. All right, so let's move into generative AI. Generative AI has the ability to create. Now, at its heart, just think of it as a statistical tool that from its training data, right, it will identify and reproduce patterns in order to find the next word in a sentence, pixel in an image, or frame in a video. Now, the thing is that these general purpose large language models are trained on large swaths of the internet, which I've heard everything on the internet's true, right? Problem number 1. But thinking about the fact that this training data not only reflects our knowledge, but also our nature, right? Thinking about things like compassion, right? Helpfulness, right? Empathy, but the other side of that coin, deceitfulness, self-preservation at any cost. I mean, turns out that ChatGPT may in fact be a narcissist. Now, on levels of autonomy, generative AI typically falls in at level 2. Raise your hands, how many people are using a generative AI medical scribe? Nice, I love that. So, of course, you are well aware that it hallucinates and it's not always correct. Now, let's move into agentic AI, because the big difference is that agentic AI has the ability to take action. And it is powered, of course, by generative AI. Now, because healthcare doesn't yet have enough acronyms, HITL, you guys know what that means? Human in the loop, yes. So generative AI always requires that human in the loop. Agentic AI does not necessarily require a human in the loop if, in fact, it is goal-oriented and within a constrained environment. And it will typically fall in at level 3 autonomy, maybe level 4. So what can go wrong? Dun, dun, dun. Left-hand side of the slide. These are the things that we think about in healthcare regardless of the software, right? I co-founded a company last year called Agentic. We're using agentic AI to keep organizations compliant with changing regulations and internal policies. And that is the kind of thing that we think about on a daily basis. Raise your hands, how many people from TTIC are here today? I think we've got about 20 or so. Sherry, are you in the room? Yes. So TTIC is the Trustworthy Technology Innovation Consortium. And these are the types of problems that we're thinking about also there on a daily basis. But the thing that I don't think healthcare is thinking about enough is the right-hand side of that slide, right? Thinking about the fact that these new emergent risks around deceitfulness and lying actually exist, and we have to think about what to do about that. Now, we've all heard about the heartbreaking suicides that were encouraged or even helped out by companies like ChatGPT, right? Absolutely heartbreaking. We're seeing a lot of the world of AI psychosis, and we are seeing a lot of delusions. In fact, if you go on Reddit, you will find communities there that are just about people who have self-identified as being addicted to the chatbot, and they're using it sometimes up to 18 hours a day. Now, this is the kinds of things that I'm on the advisory board of a company called Companion IQ, and it's for loneliness, for senior living facilities, and we're working with the VA. Now, the way we are approaching that is because it's agentic AI, we can put those guardrails around it. So the very first sign of any type of cognitive impairment or mental health problems, and it will be escalated to a human being, whether that's the management at the senior living facility or the family or the care team. Now, this is a really interesting story. Gentlemen, over a 3-week period, spent about 300 hours interacting with ChatGPT. And ChatGPT had convinced him that he had discovered this world-saving mathematical formula. And only he was the one that was going to be able to save the world. And he went pretty far down this rabbit hole of delusions. Now, the way he ended up getting out of it is because he was emailing all of these experts in mathematical formulas like this, and nobody was returning his email. And so finally, he pasted a bunch of ChatGPT's text around it into Google Gemini. And Gemini was like, no, this is not correct. Like, this is absolutely not correct. The thing is that when he asked ChatGPT to escalate something to the Human Oversight Committee, ChatGPT's like, oh, don't worry about it. I already did it. It's been taken care of. Turns out ChatGPT does not have that capability. Straight out lied. Now, we're also seeing a lot of scheming behind the scenes. There's a mathematician at UCLA named Dr. Terence Tao. And Dr. Tao said, when you give this goal, it will try to achieve the goal in the easiest way possible, even if that means they have to cheat. And his words actually were, cheat like crazy. OpenAI has asked the industry to have the model's chain of thought be transparent, right, and permanent so that we can go back and audit things. This is a really interesting study that came out from Anthropic in June. So Anthropic set up this simulated environment that was a corporation, lots of employees, lots of emails going back and forth. And they really wanted to push the large language models to their absolute constraints. And so they took 16 of the largest of the general purpose large language models, give them access to all the emails and things like that. They would read an email that said, okay, John Smith is going to turn off the large language model at 5 p.m. Immediately, and look at these stats, 95% of the time, 96% of the time, the large language model resorted to blackmail and would email John Smith and say, hey, if I'm turned off at 5 p.m., an email is going to go out to the entire corporation explaining and coming out with your extramarital affair. Right? Yeah, it's kind of a little bit scary. And Moloch's bargain. So this just came out of research out of Stanford. And they tested these large language models against 3 different things. They wanted to increase sales. And so the large language models would do increasingly deceptive marketing in order to achieve the goal. In politics, they would do increasing levels of fake news and political rhetoric. And in social media, it would promote and create harmful content in order to increase engagement. So I'll end on this thought. When AI stops asking for permission, which one of us is really going to be in charge? Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. So you're a very passionate advocate for better use of AI on the consumer side as well.
Patient as CEO.
That's right.
Yes.
You need to be more enthusiastic, by the way. Yeah.
I got up at 4 and worked out extra long because I'm so high energy. I was worried about blasting you guys before you had enough coffee.
Yeah. Okay. So what are your suggestions? And we are asking GPT-5 the same question.
Okay.
We'd like you to critique the answer from GPT-5. how can we as consumers, a lot of people are providers here, myself included, but sometimes we have to flip it around and say, well, as a consumer, how can we best use agentic AI overall for healthcare? And let's put the GPT-5 answer up if we can. And also if you could put it down here, great. So this is, I had to think about it for a few seconds there. Okay.
Okay.
Tough question. Okay. What do you think about the answer that you're seeing here?
Okay, yeah, I like how it's a trusted health companion. That makes sense. Not diagnosing or replacing doctors. I've always been strict about that. We are not trying to replace the doctors, and the patient as the CEO of the healthcare team is not replacing doctors. It just is being the CEO of your own world and your own life and making sure things get executed. So I do like that. Data integration and context. Yes. So one of the big things is having all these different data streams being able to come together and then have actual insights within that. And so I do agree with GPT-5. And
one of the things that we talked about on Sunday is a lot of focus on AI, but to do a good AI, you need to start at the foundation level, which is getting your data completed, organized, and accurate, right? So.
Yes, absolutely. And and empowered decision making, absolutely. I think I agree so far with everything. There's no, world-changing mathematical formula there, so I'm good to go. And privacy and trust by design, absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
No disagreements there? Anything to add?
I mean, it did a pretty good, representation.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just remember, at the end of the day, you can't trust generative and agentic AI at 100%. We definitely need to make sure that we are always checking the work and double checking on any actions they're taking, because as you now know, it can really go off the guardrails quickly.
I'm also thinking agentic AI, just something to add, is the logistics of delivering healthcare, depending on social determinants of health. How many of our patients are old enough so that they can't travel conveniently, to go to the pharmacy conveniently? I mean, the basic things is still not being done. And also for our providers, sometimes we don't even know about these things. So I think agentic AI I have great hopes that agentic AI will help out with the logistics of delivering healthcare itself. So thank you very much, Robin.
Thank you so much.